billions or billions? Well, I would say I would put it in the billions.
You are correct.
Yeah.
They're predicting it will be 34.1 billion. Now, I think that's globally. I'm guessing that's globally. But it still is predicted that it will not exceed the 2023 35.7 billion with a B
Wow.
for Mother's Day. So whether you're a mom, you're a kid, you're an aunt, you're a sister, you're a cousin, like Ron said, I want to wish all the gals out there a happy Mother's Day. I know that there's so many things going on, brunches and lunches, and maybe even a few food truck events. So speaking of food trucks, we are going to bring on our first guest, and that is Kristen Bortone, owner of Kristen's Kitchen Food Truck, and also, as I mentioned earlier, the president of the Richmond Food Truck Association. Now, before I bring her on, I just want to tell you a little bit about her. So, first of all, her food truck, Kristen's Kitchen, was voted the best food truck in Richmond in 2024 by Haley Toyota, and she won a $1,000 cash prize in a competitive showdown against other top local trucks. And she has just been recognized for many years with excellence in food quality. She's been to major events, concerts by Chris Lane and others. And she's offers seafood and Southern style dishes. So it's going to be really fun to talk with Kristen. Welcome to Richmond Business Babes.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me today.
Yes, thank you for coming on and making time. I know that this is the very beginning of a very busy season for you. So
yes, it is. This is like our Super Bowl season.
There you go.
In high gear.
There you go. Now, are you celebrating Mother's Day, or are you working on Mother's Day, or a little bit of both?
So I have 4 children of my own.
Oh.
So I am celebrating Mother's Day.
Good.
We take the day off.
Good. Good for you. Well done. I support that 100%. And happy Mother's Day, by the way.
Thank you so much. You too.
Thank you. Thank you. I have 3 daughters and 2 grandsons and a granddaughter. Okay, enough about me. So, so let us let's drive down your career path, your career journey. So how did you get started in the food truck business?
Sure. So I guess I'll tell you like the beginning of my story is my husband and I, we have been together for 22 years. 22 years ago, we actually met working at an Applebee's together. Mm-hmm. So that was my very first taste of the restaurant industry. So back then, I started in all aspects of the restaurant. I worked every position from dishwasher to kitchen manager. I moved on to other restaurants. I just spent my whole 20s, early 30s in the restaurant business. When COVID hit, I actually lost my job.
Oh.
And some things happened. And my husband, he's a contractor. So he's a builder. He can build me anything and everything. I am truly blessed to have him. So we had the opportunity to build a food truck. And he was like, why not? So we just started there. And we have been truly blessed for the past 4 years. We've worked really hard. It's a family affair. My kids help me. I just got my first employee here recently.
Oh, very good.
So it's really awesome.
That's awesome. So were you always involved in cooking as well? Did you always like to cook?
Yeah,
being in the restaurant industry?
I think my entire life, I think I've always wanted to own a restaurant since I was a little kid. It's always been my dream.
So
my granny was a big cook. I learned all of my recipes from her, all of my sauces and things like that. And, so it's just a big homage to her, really.
Oh, that's nice. So since you intimately know the workings of a very busy restaurant like Applebee's, right? High volume and all that, and corporate. What is the difference between what you do on a more of an individual basis now with your first employee, but pretty much you're the dishwasher, the cook, and the server, all of one.
I'm everything. I'm everything all in one, and I like it that way. I like being more hands-on in our community. I like being able to take what we have and give back. Like, we're really big on fundraising for schools and for other food trucks, and I like to feed the homeless and things like that.
Wow.
You can't really do with a corporation, but you can with your own business.
That's nice. That's nice. Well, with Kristen's Kitchen, you specialize in seafood, which I personally love, and then Southern style dishes. So what is the menu like?
So my specialty, which is the plastered on the side of my food truck, is gluten-free crab cakes.
Oh,
I don't put any fillers in my crab cakes. It's nothing but jumbo lump crab meat and my seasoning and binders. So that is my biggest hit. But we also have a big array of food. From working in a corporate restaurant, I know what it's like to have a menu that can please everybody. So I have steak and cheese, chicken wings, chicken tenders, fried shrimp po' boys, fried shrimp platters. We do tacos. I've got loaded steak fries, loaded crab fries. I do gluten-free bowls. So we kind of hit a little bit for everybody.
okay. Now my daughter, of my 3 daughters, one is vegan. So do you have anything that would be kind of vegan?
So unfortunately, vegan is the one area in my life that I am struggling with on the truck. We did some vegan tacos for a while. They weren't a big hit. We pulled them off, but I think we might venture back down that route again. But no, unfortunately not vegan, but gluten-free all the way on our truck.
Good. Excellent. So what was your first gig like? Your first event? Like you got laid off in the pandemic. Obviously it's turned into a blessing. You pivoted and your husband was there to support you. So you said to him, "Hey babe, I think we should operate. I should operate a food truck." And his response was to kind of kit out one for you.
So he believed in me. He knew that we could do it. But I will say, when we very first started, our very first gig was on the side of the interstate. We had no real event or anything, and we were selling chili and hot dogs, and we made about $100. We were so proud of ourselves. That was like the coolest thing in the world. And now we're selling high-end seafood meals out of my husband built a bigger, better food truck for me. We have a full kitchen, and I'm able to do chef-inspired real meals to people hot. And it's totally different than when we started.
Yeah.
It's been an incredible journey, I will say.
So you started with sort of like pub grub, I guess, right? Yeah.
When we started with chili and hot dogs and drumstick stew on the side of the road with no rhyme or reason, just learning.
Yeah. That's the best way to do it, right? Just see what.
It's been awesome. I will say, I feel like every day you learn something new.
That's excellent.
And to say that now I'm the president of the Richmond Food Truck Association, I have one of the top trucks in Richmond. I mean, our sales have just exponentially grown every year. I'm just incredibly proud of us.
Well, I'm proud of you just talking to you. That's great. So the pandemic hit in 2020. Was that first gig on the side of the interstate in 2021? Or?
It was. It actually was.
So 4 years ago.
It was tough, but it actually worked out a little bit in our favor because people weren't able to go out to restaurants.
Right.
So they were able to stop by individually and pick up food.
What road was it? What highway was it?
It was Jefferson Davis.
Okay.
Right here in Chesterfield, Jefferson Davis. Route 10, Jefferson Davis, close to the Wawa.
Now, did you need a permit to be? No.
We probably did, but we didn't have one.
Okay.
We just pulled our little trailer up there. And it was definitely a learning experience.
Were you in the parking lot of a storefront?
Ma'am?
Were you in the parking lot? No.
It was, so they were tearing down some stuff over there where one of the restaurants is. It was just an empty lot. And there was literally just a little strip of gravel.
Yeah.
And we parked our food truck there and we set up online ordering and I posted it all over Facebook. And I begged my friends to come out.
Yeah.
And that was it.
That's great. The rest is history, as they say. That's
right. And now we've gone to events where I have 200 people lined up outside of my window before I open the door.
Wow. That's something.
So it really is.
So you did your first gig on the side of the road, and you got the bug and you said this is going to work, and you're jumping up and down at the end of the night with $100 saying yay. So let's talk, if you don't mind, a little bit about financials. And if you've just tuned in, you're listening to WRWK 93.9 FM, The Work. I am your host, Lisa Linnell, with Richmond Business Babes, and we have Kristen Bortone. Is that how you say your last name, Bortone?
Close, yeah. It's Bortone. My husband's
Bortone.
Italian, but it looks like Bortone.
I should know that because I'm part Italian, but I didn't know if you pronounce the E like that. Bortone. Bortone. Hey.
Right.
Of Kristen's Kitchen Food Truck. And she's telling us all about her beginnings in 2021. And now fast forward, or flash forward, 4 years later, she is the president of the Richmond Food Truck Association. So kudos to you on that. So let's talk about financials. Your husband was handy, and he helped you create the food truck. Now, is it a trailer or an actual truck? Because I know a lot of our people I've interviewed prefer a trailer.
Yes, and I will tell you why I prefer a trailer, because my dear friend Tiffany with Tiffany's Food Truck has just had a major engine issues, and she's been down and out for almost 2 weeks. We've had to cover gigs for her, and I couldn't imagine not having my truck like that. So trailer all the way. Right,
and that's what a lot of others tell us. And your friend Laura Daab is going to come on next, and I'm not sure if she has the truck or the trailer, but we'll find out with her as well, with Bikini Panini. But and it was Laura who referred me to you. So
Laura's awesome. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. So okay, so you're jumping up and down. You made $100 on your first event, which wasn't even linked to anything. You just said, we're gonna park here and we're gonna sell chili and hot dogs. So then what happened after that?
It was really just a lot of trial and error. I'd like to say that every day it just got better, but it didn't. There were days that we thought about going back to the corporate world, because we have 4 children and we have a special needs son and we have a lot, going on at home. But we persevered, and we found that we had a really tight community that really wanted to come out and support us. And I found my niche finding events and being able to talk to people. And we just getting in. Like, I have 4 kids in the public school system here, so we go around to almost all of the schools for lunch around here.
Oh, that's interesting.
So just being in the community has really helped.
Okay. And is that the Chester community primarily?
Yes, ma'am. Chesterfield and Richmond.
Chesterfield and Richmond. Okay. I have a special needs granddaughter, Harriet. So yeah. So that is a whole different set of demands on the family, right?
Yes, it is. But that's also another reason why we wanted to have our own business.
Yeah.
My son Ryan, we always want to make sure that he has a future. He has something, and he will always have a place at Kristen's Kitchen Food Truck, to do something.
Good. That's great. So let's talk about financials.
All right.
And did your husband was he also laid off during the pandemic?
He was. So he actually owned his own construction business.
Okay.
And so while he wasn't laid off, work pretty much completely just stopped for him.
Yeah.
Nobody was really paying to have anything built.
Okay. So is that reinvigorated for him now, or is he totally shifted gears and is 100%?
So actually, he's totally shifted gears.
Okay.
He builds for me now. He built this food truck for me, and we are currently looking at a brick and mortar that he can build out for us in the near future. So he actually works on the food truck with me because we are so busy. He is my order taker and my prepper and my driver and my all-around other half, basically, on the truck.
And are you legally allowed to be in the truck, which is a trailer, while he is driving it, I guess, with the pickup?
Oh, no, absolutely not.
Okay.
You wouldn't want to be back there while it was driving anyways.
Okay.
Everything's bouncing all around, and for safety, it's like when we're driving, your oil has to be emptied or covered. Everything has to be strapped down.
Okay.
No, unfortunately, you can't drive and cook. I wish you could sometime.
Okay. Yeah, it would save time, right? Okay. I didn't think so, but then when you said he's my driver, I thought, well, I wonder if they can do that. Okay.
No, it's hard to drive this bad boy. It gets pretty big, and you got to park it and turn it, and maneuvered into all kinds of tight spaces. So he does that for
That's
me.
good. That's great. So, well, one thought came to mind, but it's really not the original question, but I'll ask it anyway, which is since he's in construction and you're thinking about owning a brick and mortar now and he's going to build that out for you, has he ever thought of offering his construction services to other food truck vendors who want to either start a food truck, business with the trailer like he did for you or improve what they have?
He has, and he's thought about it, but we have been so incredibly busy. He is, my free employee, so he doesn't really get a lot of spare time anymore.
Okay. All right. That answers that. Okay. So you have your first truck. You had your first success on the side of Jeff Davis and Route 10 in Chesterfield County, and now you're going forward. Let's talk about financials. You have insurance, you have supplies, you have all of the
Yes,
utensils and all of that. Yeah.
Venture.
And do you keep your?
I just increased my insurance. So you typically, as a food truck, you have to carry a $1 million policy.
Okay.
But for gigs that we were looking into doing, we just increased ours. So we currently have a $2 million policy.
Okay.
And there's tons of insurances and things to go along with that.
And then you obviously have to comply with the Board of Health and all of that. You have refrigeration issues. Do you keep your food items in your home, like in refrigerators in a garage, or do you have like a storage unit?
My food truck is it's a fully functioning kitchen at all times. So when it's not in use, it's plugged up. I pay to park at a car lot that's fenced in.
Okay.
And I have power and water and all that hooked up there.
Okay.
So it's constantly on, like just a normal kitchen you would walk into with refrigerators and freezers.
Okay. But do you also store other food items like separately as backups for extra storage?
No, we run everything out of the truck because I don't want to have a commissary. So I live at Restaurant Depot. You will probably see me at Restaurant Depot at least once a day.
Okay, good. Okay, so now it's 2021. You had your success. What happened next, and how did you finally develop your menu to where it is now, which is seafood, gluten-free crab cakes, steak and cheese sandwiches, I believe you said, and other items, tacos, fish tacos. How did you get to that menu, 4 years later?
So I think my menu has been a little bit of kind of just a little bit of everything from my background, a little bit of everywhere that I've worked, something that I've liked, I've tweaked and turned it into my own. Any restaurant that I've been to that I've seen some, like, just trial and error, literally has just been trial and error. I just perfected my menu. I feel like this is the first year we haven't really edited anything.
Oh, good. That's great. That's really great. Well, Kristen, when you look at how you're planning your menu and, planning for events, I guess it depends on the number of events. Do you only choose events that you predict you'll have like 500 customers, or you don't look at an event that way, or how do you pick an event?
So I think I pick an event. It's mostly intuitive. If it's a near and dear event to me, like if there's an autism event, I'm going to do it without a minimum because that's something that is to my heart. If there's something that's like a wedding, we have contracts in place to ensure that our minimums are hit for events. But we don't really pick and choose. We just look and see what we have available on the calendar. And if we're open, we try to make ourselves available to everybody.
Let's talk about your role as president of the Richmond Food Truck Association. How did you go from being sort of a newbie in the industry, right, to becoming president of the Food Truck Association?
Yes, I will say I kind of just hit the ground running. I think in everything I've ever done, I've always found myself at the top. And any job I've ever done, I've always started at the bottom and wound up as the manager. I think that's just my mindset and my work ethics. And so I loved the association. I loved being a part of it.
Uh-huh.
And I really wanted to see it grow. So I got on the board and things just kind of fell into place. And I was blessed with the position.
Well, I think you probably earned it as well.
Well, thank you. I'd like to think so. But, you know, I'm really excited about I literally am the brand new president. It's only been like the past 2 months or so. So it's brand new to me, but I'm really excited to grow and move forward with the association and see what we can do.
So if I'm contemplating starting a food truck business, and I went to the Richmond Food Truck Association, of which you are the president, what would I learn from your organization? How would you help me? Or is it only for current operating food truck vendors?
Sure. So our association is more so for food trucks that are currently running. In order to be a part of our association, you do have to have all of your health inspections, your permits, your insurance, and all of those things. You have to have all of that before you can apply.
Okay.
So you have to be in good standings within the county.
Okay.
But what you do get from us is super beneficial is people book food trucks through our association. They go to our website and they get access to our 50 trucks immediately. And our trucks are constantly getting emails about people that are looking for events. And so we're just getting their information out. They get social media from us.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to try to have rodeos here in the future.
Mm-hmm.
We've been trying to do socials to get all the food trucks, just community together so everybody can learn from each other and grow together.
Yeah, well, here we are on the radio. So you're achieving that already.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's very good. So how does one get started? I mean, you make it sound so easy, and it you know, and of course, Rob, your husband, was helping you to, you know, organize the trailer and make it self-sufficient for your food truck. But what are the financials? Like, if first of all, would I buy a used trailer? How much would that be? 25,000, 30,000?
When we first started, our very first trailer, which was a very tiny trailer, no more than one fryer, one flat, one deep freezer, and one tiny chest cooler. I could barely turn around in there, much less have another person in there with me.
Okay.
Full startup cost me $30,000.
Okay. And that's for all of the appliances that are in there as well.
That was for all the appliances,
Okay.
the trailer itself, the insurance that I had to pay to start.
Okay.
That was all of my everything but stocking it with food for my very first gig.
Okay. And when you choose your food items, are you looking at sort of the shelf life and the you know, like, if you don't use all of it, you know, uncooked, let's say, how long will it last in your refrigerator?
We absolutely do watch that, but a lot of my items are fresh, so I shop daily.
Yeah.
So I'm constantly shopping, and that's okay. That's just part of my, you know, that's our truck. I like to have fresh items, but we do keep 2 very large deep freezers, and a lot of our, you know, French fries and basic stuff like that stays frozen. We can keep it, but we typically sell out of our truck within 24 to 48 hours, and we're restocking.
Okay. All right. So do you often do a 2-day event, or?
We try not to do too many long events just because we like to have control of our truck. But I have done a 6-day event before. I've parked my truck for 6 days and have worked with the Dominion Energy. I've done the Neptune Festival out in Virginia Beach. We parked on the boardwalk for 4 or 5 days. Okay. So we have done it. It just depends.
Yeah. Interesting. So 30,000 kind of starts you up with all you need to at least have a foundation to go forward. And then you're just buying food and utensils and paper products and things like that.
Yep.
Okay. And then what typically is the cost to be a vendor? I know it would vary by event. Like,
it does. It is so all over the board.
Okay.
There's anywhere from people pay you to show up I've paid out of pocket $3,000 before to be at an event.
Was that the
So it
Neptune
just
Festival?
depends. You
The
really got to know
3,000?
what you're doing. You really got to do your research on what you're going to make back and if it's worth it for you.
Yeah. Okay. Was that the Neptune Festival, the 3,000?
It was.
Yeah.
It was.
But then you got many days worth of sales too.
We did. We definitely did. Was it a festival my truck would do again? Probably not.
Because it was exhausting. Because it was exhausting.
It was exhausting.
Yeah, sounds exhausting.
It was, I mean, it's a far away from our house.
Yeah.
You know, Virginia Beach it's a long drive to be out of your community with your food truck like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
well, you did it and
home.
Yeah, right. And then you can restock easily. You know what yeah. I was thinking, did she go home every night or did she stay at a hotel there? I guess you would.
Actually, Restaurant Depot, they actually have one in Virginia Beach. That's the only other place that has a Restaurant Depot.
Okay. And then each night you stayed at a hotel, I would assume?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So it was very costly.
Very costly. Did you earn a sizable profit on that or
it wasn't a bad event, but like I said, it's probably not for our truck. It really wasn't.
Right.
Comparatively, what we could do around town, not best.
Right. And
but
so
the Richmond gigs are awesome.
Yeah. And there's so many of them all year round, really.
Yeah. I'd rather stay in Richmond.
Yeah.
I don't want to go anywhere else.
We don't want you to go anywhere else.
Stay close to home.
Yes, that's right. So we only have a few minutes left until Laura comes in here. And I don't know if she's going to come in. I don't know if you want to kind of hang around and hear what she has to say or you have to go.
No, that's okay. I'm actually in between gigs right now.
Okay.
So I'm stepping off the truck, just to hang out with you for a couple minutes, but I'm going to head back in.
Okay. Well, then we'll let you go since you're in between, but tell everyone how they can reach you. And also, what you learned, because you said every year when you reflect back, you've learned so much. So if you were to share words of wisdom to someone who's aspiring with a food truck, Kristen Bortone of Kristen's Kitchen, what are some of the key takeaways that you've learned?
Sure. So I would just say if you're looking to start a food truck business, you got to have a lot of patience. You got to be willing to pivot at any given moment. Things can change. I mean, I went from selling chili and hot dogs to gluten-free crab cakes and bacon shrimp taco bowls. So just be willing to change and be willing to look at your environment and know that some places you're not going to do well with crab cakes. Some places you will. So just really pay attention to the people that you're working with. Don't give up. Be prepared for the heat, man. It gets really hot in a food truck. I will say, if you cannot take the heat, you will have to get out of it.
There you go.
That is absolutely a key thing. That's the biggest thing you take away, because it is hot. It is not for the faint of heart out here.
Yeah, it's an instant diet, right? Every gig is like, hey, I lost 4 pounds today and I made money.
Yeah, I think I had my truck at 120 degrees.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So it is not cool. But if you love cooking, then I think it's a great opportunity to start your own business without a lot of money right out the door.
Yeah, I mean, 30,000 is
$200,000.
Sure, absolutely. And we have now with us Laura Daab. So before I let you go, tell everyone how they can reach you, Kristen Bortone of Kristen's Kitchen. And then before you go, I want you to say hi to Laura.
Perfect. No worries. Okay, so Kristen Bortone, you can reach me at Facebook. My name is Kristen's Kitchen Food Truck on Facebook. My website is kristenskitchenfoodtruck.com. My email is kristenskitchen1@yahoo.com. My phone number is 804-616-0060. And I look at my emails, my phone numbers, my messages. Contact me anyway. I will get back to you as soon as possible. And Laura, I hope you guys have a great phone interview. I hope I did okay. This is my first time on the radio.
Oh, you did beautiful.
So,
thank you.
Hey, Kristen, how are you?
Can you hear?
All right, ladies. Well, I hope you all have a great time time, and I will chat with you later.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, cool.
Kristen Bortone of Kristen's Kitchen. We appreciate you coming on Richmond Business Babes. Thank you. And now I'm
so
going,
much.
yeah, good luck.
Bye, guys. Bye, Laura.
Bye.
All right.
All right. And Laura, now I'm going to ask you to call back at our, leave it like this. Okay. All right. Put it down here. Okay. So let me give you a proper introduction. Don't say anything. Let me speak for you. Okay. So, by the way, you are listening to Richmond Business Babes here on WRWK 93.9 FM, The Work, where you will get your weekly dose of celebrating successful women all over the RVA. Women like Laura Daab. She is the owner of Bikini Panini Food Truck. And let me tell you a little bit about Laura. She is a return guest. She has a background not in food, but in theatrics. She has a BA in marketing communications. She was a theatrical producer. She's worked in advertising and publishing. And now she is producing paninis. And I have such a great honor of having her back to Richmond Business Babes. Welcome back, Laura Daab of Bikini Panini.
Thanks, Lisa. It's nice to be back.
Oh, yeah. And, I got the idea to have you back when I saw you on, I don't know what news channel it was. I can't remember now.
It's probably Virginia this morning.
Yes, that's what it was. And I was sitting there with my mom and I'm like, I know her. She was on the show. And you were
That's
great.
right.
And those sandwiches you were making were huge. I was like, oh my gosh, I had no idea they were like 6 inches thick and, just cheese and all kinds of, and you made it look so easy. You had the grill set up and everything. So,
Oh, yeah.
I was so
Yeah.
excited to see you on TV. And you're very tall. How tall are you?
I am. I'm 6'1".
Are you? Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was like,
Yep.
you have a mental. I'm 5'3" and shrinking. So, so you have a mental image of people, and not that I thought you were short or tall, but when I saw her, I was like, oh, very commanding presence. Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
it was an athlete in high school. I was center on my basketball team.
Oh,
It's interesting, speaking since we're on Boss Babes, or this Business Babes
uh-huh.
kind of theme here, is that I was one of the first girls in my high school to play to take advantage of Title IX.
Oh.
So it was 1973,
Oh,
and it was wonderful. It really enhanced my life. It was great. And in my later years, I've gotten into kind of amateur rowing. So both kind of tall sports tend to kind of take tall people in.
Yeah.
Under their wing and stuff. But
Uh-huh.
yeah. So anyway.
If there's like a crew team, would that be crew? Is that what it's called?
Well,
No.
yeah. I have not rowed in a while because I'm too busy with my food truck, which Kristen can attest to. I'm sure, her interview told you how hard this business is. But yeah, I got hooked up down at the boathouse. There is a rowing club in town. It's the Virginia Boat Club, and it's down, at Main Street Station, or not Main Street Station, but the Rockets Landing.
Rockets Landing, yeah.
Right, the boathouse down there. And I took lessons, and then I competed a little bit, and then I just got too busy on my truck. But I'd like to get back to doing that again because I really enjoy it.
That's great. That's great. Another dimension to you that I was not aware of. But you're a very good public speaker, and hence the theatrical background and marketing communications and all of that. Because on the show, you were just all about it. So it was great. But anyway, walk us down your career path, Laura Daab of Bikini Panini Food Truck. Okay. How you transitioned from being a theatrical producer and working in advertising and publishing, and did you just wake up one day and say, I think I want to quit and open a food truck? Like, how did that all come about?
Yeah, no, it's never linear like that. Just like never linear. But to speak to my public speaking skills, so to speak, is I'm a media brat. My dad was a journalist and had his own television show back in my hometown where I grew up. So I grew up in that environment, and I was involved in journalism in high school, the editor of my paper. So I've always kind of had a leaning towards language and writing and so forth. So that's And I'll tell you though, before I got my college degree, I was in the hospitality business where, you know, I was a cocktail waitress, a bartender, a waiter. I did all kinds of stuff in the restaurant industry, a hostess. So I had a background in the hospitality industry real early on, but, you know, move forward, well, way forward into the future. Yeah, I got my degree and I got into different areas that complemented my degree. Finally ended up, but before that, I had been in theater. I met my husband in theater. I was an in-house performer for a dinner theater in Illinois. My husband came down to the main stage production down there, and we met that way. Moved to Minneapolis with him, lived in Minneapolis for several years. He was a performer. And he got involved in a production company that did comedy, murder, mystery dinner shows. And so we moved from Minneapolis to Richmond to produce murder mystery dinner shows. We did that for 20 years.
20
yeah,
years.
We had 4 locations: Richmond, Williamsburg, Virginia Beach, and Arlington.
Now, was this your own company or were you employees?
Yeah. Nope. We started our own company.
Interesting.
And that branched off into a script selling business that my husband still has because he wrote all the scripts for these shows.
Excellent.
So anyway, we, you know, cruised along pretty well. 2008 hit, the Great Recession. And as everyone knows, a lot of discretionary income went away. We hung in there for 5 more years. So in 2013, you know, we just turned out the lights and started a new path. And I had a little interim period between about 2 years where I was painting houses, doing all kinds of odd jobs. Jim was doing some property management and just different stuff. And by this time we were in our 50s and, you know, so, you know, it kind of a different career path happening there. And I started working with a friend of mine on Sweet Frog. They had a mobile business. They've since sold all of that off, but I kind of got
talking about the yogurt Sweet Frog.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. And so my friend Robert, who was managing the mobile business at the time, I was working for him, and I worked for him for about 10 months. And I really got to know the food truck business better just by doing that. And so as it would have, I live in Churchill, and there's the Pritchard Brothers auction house down the street from me. And Jim was coming home from work one day, and he came home and he said, "Laura, they're cleaning up a food truck." And I, oh, okay.
And
well,
your point is, darling?
Yeah. So right. So I called them up and I said, "Can I buy it outright?" They said, "No, there's a reserve on it because it's a repo from DC. So we have a reserve on it. There's a minimum bid." So I went to the bid, and I outbid this other guy who I think just wanted this gigantic generator that was inside the truck.
Oh, so the generator was worth as much as the truck itself.
Easily. It's a 27 watt generator. It'd light up a city block. You know, it's huge. So anyway, I won the bid, and I got a really good deal on this truck, and I had a guy retrofit it for me, and it was a Panini truck up in DC. I said, "Why reinvent the wheel?" So I love Mediterranean food. I just made my own menu up, tweaked it over 3 or 4 months, and then officially started in 2017. This is back in 2016, around now.
Okay.
So I've been in business about 9 years now. Yeah.
You're doing very well, and you've gotten a lot of media coverage too. I like that.
Yeah, you know, well, again, my background, what I did in my business, in my theater business, was to promote our dinner theater. I did group sales and promotion and marketing. So it's kind of my background. It just was, you know, it was an easy fit for me.
Yeah. Now, what did you spend for that truck before you retrofitted it out? What was the actual truck?
The truck and the generator, I got it for $8,000.
Oh, that's great. That's very good.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it was a deal and a half. The generator was probably worth 12.
Wow.
You know, at the time.
Wow. Now, wait, was that a truck or a trailer? Because Kristen Bortone of Kristen's Kitchen, who was just your friend and who was just on, and thank you for referring her to me. I appreciate that.
Sure.
She was great, but she said she didn't want a truck; she wanted a trailer. Was that a truck or a trailer?
my operation, my mobile unit is a P30 Chevy step van. It was probably an old bakery truck. It looks like an old timey bakery truck.
Okay.
Now I understand, and Kristen's probably correct in this. And if I had to do it differently, and if I had a really, really good pickup truck, I would also say trailer. Here's the reason why. Trailers don't break down. Trucks do. If your truck breaks down, you can rent a U-Haul truck for $20 a day and still get to work. If my food truck breaks down, I've got two things going on in my truck. I've got my kitchen that can break down, my generator, and I've got my engine in my truck that can break down. So when you have a trailer, you've got options. When you've got a food truck, something breaks down, you don't work at all.
Yeah.
So that's the reason to have a trailer more than a truck.
Do you think you'll ever transition to a trailer?
No. This is the end of the line for me. My little Chevy step van is great. I love it. And this is it for me. Okay. Unless when I sell my business, somebody wants to expand and, have more units or whatever. But
And when you're talking about the murder mystery theater, Remarkable Ron, my producer, does improv. So yeah, he's a theater guy.
Fun stuff.
Yeah, people that worked for us, a lot of the actors that worked for us usually had a background in improv. We were a fully scripted show. They were usually about 60 pages long. It was interspersed with a dinner, obviously a 3-course dinner, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But people who are improv people do very well at this genre that we had. It's goofy, it's real broad characters, So he would have fit well into what we do.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Love to eat too.
And he loves to eat too. So so now that we know how you got started, when you look back, how did you choose the events that you would have, your food truck at? Like, was it trial and error, or what were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'll say probably the most energy you put into your truck in the beginning after you've, got it all set up and ready to go, got your menu done, is booking your jobs. That's like 80% of what you do. I always say the easiest thing I do is showing up to serve. Right. That's the easiest part of my job because I like it the most. It's like I'm actually cooking.
Right.
The other 90% of it is all getting to that point of serving.
Was that hard at first?
I'm sorry.
Was that difficult in the beginning?
I got really lucky because in 2016, 2017 was the height of the microbrewery and wineries were all starting up, and they all wanted trucks to work their venues, their properties. Now a lot of these places have their own kitchens, have their own food operations. So a lot of breweries do not have trucks anymore. But starting out, there was also a ton of corporate work, which is gone now.
Yes.
Not gone, but much more thinned out because of COVID and remote working situations. So the landscape, I ran into another friend of mine the other day at Restaurant Depot where we all shop.
Yeah, that's what Kristen was saying too.
Yeah. And we run into each other over there. And I was talking to Robin, who and she just said, Laura, every day it's like we reinvent our business every day because our clientele changes, our audience changes every day. You just have to go with the flow. And it's really true. The landscape does change. My business model has changed several times over the past.
So right now you're more event focused and also for hire, like at a wedding, or
yes.
What is it, like 50-50 or?
I would say my focus is much more on, local events, festivals, and then special private catering events. I do have a corporate client list. I do have regular jobs I work, but I probably have lost since COVID 10 to 15 corporate clients, probably. Before COVID, I was working mostly like Tuesday through Friday corporate jobs, and they were really good jobs. And then I would maybe pick up 1 or 2 weekend jobs, maybe.
Yeah.
Now it's kind of completely the opposite. Most of my money is made on the weekends with, you know, my bigger events, and then my private catered events, and the corporate stuff is secondary to that. Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, that makes sense because of the shifting economics and the societal changes. Really, like you said, people work remotely, so there's not a hub of a corporation with thousands of people in a single building anymore. Yeah, there are, but it's dramatically reduced.
It's quite a phenomena that's happened in the past 5-6 years. It really is.
Yeah. Now, when you look back on the events that you choose, festivals or whatever, when you're preparing for them. Oh, and I want to ask you, how did you get the name Bikini Panini? Just because it rhymed? I mean, it's such a memorable name.
Yeah. Well, I was sitting around with Jim, my husband, one night, and we were going through the menu. Really come up with a name yet. We're going through the menu, and we thought, well, maybe I could serve like half a panini and call it, and either I or Jim, we could dispute this, said, yeah, we could call it the Bikini Panini. And that's it. That's the name.
That's great.
And, you know, alliterations always work because they're memorable. And, you know, you have this idea of the Mediterranean. You have the idea of the Riviera, the sunshine, the bikinis, you know. That's kind of where they came.
The Caribbean. Yeah. So that's nice. That's great. So when you choose an event, Laura Daab of Bikini Panini Food Truck, what is, if we could talk a little bit more about the financials. So you started with a retrofitted truck for $8,000. Now you've obviously got to buy paper products and the food itself and all of that, utensils, disposables. But then when you're done with an event, what kind of profit do you typically expect for, I guess it would be 10 hours worth of work because you're preparing prior and then you're cleaning up when you're done, you know, and then there's the event itself. Is it 10 or 12-hour days?
They are. They are. If you lump it all together, you know, the
shopping prior to it,
the cooking, the prepping, everything all said and done. The time you spend with your social media and then responding to all your emails and you're talking 10, 12-hour days almost, you know, consistently. Your actual working on your truck, you know, usually 3-4 hour shifts. Sometimes they're going to be 5 or 6 hours. Those are typically your shift hours, but the other part of the day is going to be all this other stuff you're doing. But for me, I would say that every truck is different, and it depends on your setup. I'm a family-owned business, so all my profits go to me. I have no payroll. In the beginning, I did have people working my truck, and I did have payroll back then. Now it's just a family-owned business, and there are a lot of those in the area. A lot of people who have family-owned businesses, and so I'm out of the realm. Kristen's probably more in that realm of, you know, having a staff and payroll.
Well, she said she hired her first employee just recently.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's right. Kristen has some family going on there too. Exactly. Yeah, a lot of us do. These tend to be very family-oriented businesses. Not always, but they do tend to be. But again, it'll depend on the size of your truck, the volume you're doing, the you know, number of staff you have to pay, you know, what your profit margins are going to be. And I'll tell you, our food costs have been so crazy since COVID. So it's always an adventure. And we've all had to raise our prices. I know we've all had to do it the past couple of years. So we just, you know, hang in there. And I do think the food truck community is very robust right now. I think we're all doing pretty well. And I just hope it stays that way.
Well, I always get excited when I'm at an event and there's food trucks, like you're talking about breweries, right? if I'm going to go to a brewery and just hang out, which I don't really like beer that much, so it'd be more like a winery, but and I'm eating their food versus seeing 3 or 4 or 5 food trucks. I'm excited seeing the food trucks. Like I like that. I prefer that actually.
Yeah.
So it just makes it more feel like a festival or a little carnival or something. It just seems more fun. Yeah, and then you have variety too. So, like, would you be walking away from what is the average event? And I know there's no average because that's what Kristen was telling me as well. But like your exhibitor or vendor fee, like what does it range from 300 to 1,000, or what would be the range? And then like in say a $500 vendor fee, what would be your profit from that event?
Oh, I probably wouldn't work a $500 vendor fee. I'm a small truck.
Okay.
My truck, it's only myself and my husband who work the truck.
Okay.
I have worked a kickers event.
Okay.
And that has a vendor fee that is not that much, but it's, for me, pretty substantial, but you do make it back in profit. And so you're looking at maybe 10% of your sales,
Okay.
That's the way I would look at it. If you have to pay a vendor fee, you better hope that that's going to end up just being 10% of your net sales.
Okay. So if your net sales, would they typically be 2,000, 1,000, 3,000?
It depends on the event, but a busy event here in Richmond, I can't do this kind of volume, but there are people that can do $5,000 at an event. Some do more. People have the big freight liners. Kristen can do much more volume than I can do. Now, for me, a really good event for me is going to be like 3.
Okay.
That's going to be a really, really good event for me.
So if you're predicting to make 2 or 3, then you don't want to spend more than 200 or 300 on the vendor fee.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Gotcha.
You're hoping to keep your fees around 10%.
Yeah.
And everybody's different. Every business is different. People have different minimums. Some people charge travel fees.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of more old school. I work with everyone individually.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a real set, kind of contract that I offer everyone. I just talk to people and we work out.
I like that.
I'm sorry.
I said I like that. Why not? It's your business. You do what you want. Whatever makes sense.
And I've never gotten burnt by anybody. It's always a good faith agreement most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And it works. It's worked out for me.
Yeah.
Again, I'm a smaller operation. I have less to worry about than other people. I keep it very simple.
Yeah. No employees, like you said, except for Jim, your husband.
Yeah, that's right. So everybody's going to be a little different. And our Richmond Food Truck Association has, we have about 52 members now. And it's a real wide range of different people and cuisines, and they're all different. And they'd all tell you probably a different perspective than me, I'm sure.
I like your perspective. If I were doing a food truck, which I don't think I would want to do personally, just because I think I wouldn't want to do all the prep and post, the middle part where you're serving and cooking, that I would like, but the cleanup and the prep and all that, I don't think that's for me. But anyway, if I were to do it, I would do it your way. I like the way you're handling it. It's just like manageable and makes sense to you. So that's great. It's obviously successful for you. Now let's talk about Mother's Day. Are you celebrating Mother's Day? Are you doing a gig on Mother's Day, or what's going on with that?
I'm doing a gig on Mother's Day.
Oh, where is that?
With another good friend of mine, Monique's Crepes. Monique.
Uh-huh.
And I will be working at James River Cellars.
Oh.
And they have a 2-day celebration at James River Cellars, Saturday and Sunday from 1 to 4.
Uh-huh.
They're called Amapalooza. So they have bands.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, and Saturday they'll have 2 other trucks, but on Sunday, when Monique and I work, it'll be Monique's Crepes and myself. And then I believe there's a dessert truck there as well. And I'm sorry, I can't remember. It might be, cheesecakes. I can't remember. I think it's a cheesecake vendor, and I'm sorry that I can't remember the person. Anyway.
That'll be great. Well, if somebody wants to try your bikini paninis, they can go to James River Cellars. That's in Hanover, right? Or Ashland? Where is that?
It's actually up on Washington. I believe it's Glen Allen.
Okay, I knew it was like toward past Virginia Center Commons, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
It's just
yeah. Great.
And
so
really beautiful.
Yeah, I've driven by it, but I've never been. But Laura Daab of Bikini Panini, we're almost out of time. So I just want to ask you if you had either some advice you want to share or something that maybe you know not to do now that you did in the beginning for someone who's listening who maybe wants to start a food truck. What words of wisdom, what gems and pearls would you convey to them?
Oh boy. I don't know. It's so hard to say. I think you should, it sounds corny, but I do think that if you really love what you do, it helps pull you along through a lot of hardship. And this business does have a lot of hardship. I've done a lot of stuff in my life, and it's one of the hardest jobs I've ever had, but it can be very rewarding. Again, as we were talking a few minutes ago, keep it very simple. I tell everybody that's my big advice. Don't complicate things. You're going to run yourself into the ground. Keep it real simple, and then you can build off of that.
Yeah. Well, that's good advice for life itself, isn't it?
It is.
Well, tell everybody now you're going to be at James River Cellars in Glen Allen on Mother's Day. And then how can they get in touch with you for future events?
Well, they can call me at 804-221-0492. My email is Laura, Laura, at bikinipanini.com. My web address is bikinipanini.com. And they can Google me.
Great. Very good.
Yeah, page, the whole deal.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for being a return guest here on Richmond Business Babes. You were great, and we're going to have you back again if you're willing.
Hey, Lisa, it's always great to talk to you.
Same here. You take care.
All right, you too.
All right, bye-bye.
Those were the comments too, by the way.
Oh, okay. Great. Well, anyway, that sums up this show, May 8th, it happens to be Arthur's birthday. My grandson, happy birthday, Arthur. Right. And Food Truck Fun for the month of May. We talked with Kristen Bortone, owner of Kristen's Kitchen Food Truck and also president of the Richmond Food Truck Association, and Laura Daab, owner of Bikini Panini Food Truck. And thank you, the remarkable Ron, my producer. And if you missed any part of the show, you can always go to richmondbusinessbabes.com, my website. I am Lisa Linnell, your host. Thanks for listening.
All right. Well, gosh, that wraps up another hour, and it's time to go on to the news show. Whoop-de-doo. Democracy How. First of all, let me wave goodbye to your audience out there. Take it from me. She's waving goodbye to you, audience. Unless you're watching us on Facebook Live or YouTube,